Oh, hang on. Technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. Yeah, I know. I clicked on the wrong title track, but that's okay. We've had
It
a bunch of
doesn't matter.
songs, but that
Yeah,
one
it
works
doesn't
too.
matter.
I like it. Hey, welcome to the Tech Disruptors podcast, a special early Sunday edition. It's actually nice to do it in the afternoon. And we actually have our regular guest host, Jason, on my right, or your left. And below me, welcome back to the show, Mike. How you doing? Average Dad.
I think he lost sound.
I think. Oh, look. Hey.
Dead. Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
I'm using Samsung Buds, Apple Mac. There.
We lost him again.
Now we lost. I think we lost your mic there too. Now, hang on. Technical difficulties not uncommon to the Tech Disruptors podcast, but that's okay.
Nothing.
We'll let Mike get sorted out, and we can't hear him currently, but that's okay. It's nice to have a face while he's sorting out his technical difficulties. So big week in tech. And for those of you who are new discovering our show, first of all, I want to do a big shout out to everybody who discovered us on Good Pods. Good Pods is a streaming platform, streaming only the greatest podcasts from around the world. And we actually made it to the top 100 tech podcasts this week on Good Pods. Yes, well done. We tried our best. And we really appreciate everybody who likes and subscribes. And you can also find us at other places too, like Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everywhere in between. And also live. If you catch us live on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1 million followers by December.
Well, I think if we have Average Dad on a few more times, we're probably going to be number one.
It's possible.
He can't even talk to us.
Hang on, Mike, try leaving the chat and returning. That might actually get us there. I don't know what's going on. I'm having some technical issues with Mike, but Jimmy just joined the chat. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Yes. So we are going to jump right into a very interesting story to kick things off. And this one caught my attention this week because it really is the world of AI fascinates us. We know this. We've talked a lot about AI. We've talked a lot about how it's impacting the world. But Jason, one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is how it may affect people's jobs. So we know that AI is becoming quite prevalent. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hopefully better.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, he's back. There we go.
There we go. Hey,
all
guys.
Right. So we were just talking about AI, and we're talking about the world of work. So one of the things that caught my attention this week is an article that popped up on Wired. And I'll show you. I've actually got a little bit to show you here because this was actually pretty interesting. I'm just trying to find. Oh, no, that didn't open. Let's try that again. So here is an article from Wired about somebody that lost their job to AI. So I'll set up the context here. Like local newspaper in Hawaii, in order to save, I guess, money, has decided to switch over to completely AI-generated humans doing the local news. Like completely no human beings involved at all. The voices, everything from the visual and the voices in between. They've started using this at the Garden Island, which is the name of the newspaper, in case you're wondering. And I guess from what I can understand from the article here is that I'm assuming they have like live to air video feeds of the news. And what I wanted to do is actually pull up what these AI generated news actually look like, because it's quite interesting.
Where's this going, Darren?
Oh, I'll show you. Don't worry. You'll see. I promise you this is...
Is it going to be something from Mac and Me?
Yeah. Okay. So no, it's not from Mac and Me. Relax. I know Average Dad would love to see a quick flash away to
one of the greatest theatrical
pranks of all time. Okay. So here is TGI Today, the Garden Island News. And this, everything you're about to see here is AI generated. Huh. Okay, so I'll push play so you can kind of see what's going on.
Welcome to TGI Today, Kauai Island's only live newscast powered by AI. TGI Today focuses on local and relevant news content you can only get from the Garden Island. I'm James, and with me is Rose. Join us as we bring you the in-depth stories behind the headlines right here on TGI Today. On today's show, student athletes honored at annual Kauai Pop Warner Football Association Jamboree, entire Kala Law Trail section closed, and CSL Kauai aiming to provide African drinking water. Today, we're talking about the recent Kauai Pop Warner Football Association Jamboree, where student athletes were honored for their outstanding achievements. Robbie Tanita, Kepa Pablo, and Dryden Arbolero were recognized for their exceptional academic performance. Rose, could you share more details about how these students stood out?
James, at the annual Jamboree, these students were highlighted for achieving a 100% grade point average during the 2023 season.
Okay.
I gotta pause it there because I can't.
So the guy, the something about the guy and the voice doesn't quite add up for me. And the girl's better, but they're still like, I don't know. You could tell.
No, I mean, the mouth is always interesting because I think that technology to get emotion and facial expression and verbal whatever there is a challenge.
So what's the end result for this? To save money and not have real anchors? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Because why would?
Well,
be the
so
need of this? I don't.
Basically, they created these AI avatars. That's created by an Israeli company called Kalido. And basically, what they're trying to do is the platform can analyze pre-written articles and turn them into live broadcasts featuring conversation between these AI hosts. Now, apparently, this is happening in a lot of places around the world. In fact, Channel 1 in Los Angeles has started using AI avatars to read out pre-written articles as well. So this is something that actually is legitimately happening. It's replacing jobs around the world. Now, do you keep hearing someone entering the studio there, Jason? Do you keep hearing that sound?
For some reason, I don't have full access. I don't know if, because I can't chat or anything right now. So
hang on. It's Joe. There we go. Hey, Joe. Sorry about that, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on? Average Dad, I'd like to introduce you to Joe. He is also a fellow podcaster on the Nomad Tech Project. How's it going?
How you doing, Mike? Nice to meet you. You will?
So,
Yeah,
Joe, better late than never, buddy. And we're here actually talking about this crazy AI-generated avatars reading the news on this Hawaiian newspaper.
Nice.
What are your thoughts about replacing news anchors with AI avatars? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I like the human being.
Even with all their flaws and mispronunciations.
That's exactly why I like a human being.
Oh.
You can't replace us, for example, with AI. You want
True.
all the flaws and everything in there. That's what I like. The human touch.
You need the flip-ups as well. And what about because all the news is about AI, will AI essentially just decide, you know what, I'm not going to talk about this because this sounds negative about me being AI.
Yes.
When does AI take over itself and be like, no, and are they going to be politically neutral? There's too many questions of all the jobs in the world that I believe could benefit from AI power and replacement. News anchors just it's not on my list.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the issues with using AI avatars is one of the big issues that we always see it bring up is, AI is creating these people from its bank of visuals of human beings. But what happens if the likeness actually looks like you? Like, for example, if they created an AI avatar and it happened to look like Joe, let's just hypothetically say,
That'd be
would
terrible.
you be okay with that, Joe? Would that be terrible? But what I'm getting at is there's always that issue of, I understand why they're trying to do it, right? I understand sometimes cost cutting, maybe the network can't afford to pay these people to do it. But then again, why exist at all, right? Why do you need to have non-human beings doing the news at all? Just call it a day and let it be handled by, the BBC or whoever else is willing to do it.
That's when you get to like AI generated movies and stuff like that. Just don't have actors anymore.
Well, I mean,
my thing is in the US, we talk about fake media. It's all about media's against us. What are you going to do if all news media is AI? Then they're going to say there's hacking going on. I don't know. It just seems like a never ending. I mean, we're never going to beat that kind of stuff anyways, but. Yeah.
Well, listen, I hate to break it to you, but everybody in this podcast is AI generated today. I'm just telling you, I know this is the best it could create. This is actually a sad state of affairs if this is the best it could create out of AI, but
it's low bar there, low bar.
It's a low bar to clear, but we're very personable, right? We all can get along. We have a pretty face. I understand it. AI is amazing that way. Now, speaking of funny AI and AI company stories, so I don't know if you guys know, but Meta, the company that's attached to Facebook there, they're Australian now. Did you know that?
Really?
They're
Meta is Australian now.
They are Australian now.
Are you telling me it's an Australian voice, but they're AI now? Is that what you're trying to say?
They might as well be Australian. So here is a funny article that came out on Engadget. So I'm already weary of this headline because Meta couldn't use user account from the EU because you can opt out. But in Australia, they didn't have the option to opt out of user data. So Meta has been, Meta has been scraping all of the Australian usernames and accounts and all of their data and everything they talk about to train its AI. I can't imagine what kind of fuck show this is going to be. Because I'll be honest with you, if you've ever had a chance to look through any Australian social media accounts, it is not like the rest of the world. There's a lot of in-jokes. There's a lot of drinking humor.
So Australians are a little different is what you're saying.
I can admit that.
Would you know? Yes. How would you know, Darren?
Well, being partly Australian, half Australian, I guess we call me at this point. So I read this article out and, again, it was on Engadget. This made me laugh. But basically they were saying here that they've been collecting solely Australian data to train its generative AI, going back as far as 2007. Now, that's a lot of years of Australian data. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Australians are not known for their brilliance and candor when it comes to social media posts. And
I'll defer to you on that. I'm not making any of the kind of things.
Well, no, it's okay. I mean, our Australian listeners know, right? If you're Australian, you know this is probably not a good thing. Now, basically, they admitted to collecting photos, and things of that nature, posts, verbal data, conversational data, and stuff like that. Because the EU was smart and gave you guys an option to opt out. Now, Mike, I'm gonna pick on you. I know you've had a lot of interactions with Australians, possibly just me. But is this a good thing for Meta, or is this going to open up some doors we don't want to?
It's fantastic if you want a bunch of alcoholic metadata going around. Ultimately, every Aussie I know is through drinking or barbecues, and that sounds like the most horrendous stereotype, but it's just true. Now, one thing I will say is you're always going to get honest feedback from an Aussie. They're always going to be straight up with you. There's no going around the way. They will go straight through you. There's no bullshit. So if Meta goes that way, I'm happy with that, because sometimes, Americans can be, false. So Aussies will never be that. So
Americans
that would be
what?
A bit false sometimes.
Oh.
Yes.
Inwardly, they're telling you what.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. Yeah.
But
no, Aussies, you'll never get that. You know where you stand with an Aussie. So if Meta's only getting their data, then it could be a happy world.
Now, here's a question: is this a good thing? Like, maybe this is the most honest AI trained thing of them all. Now, I'm sure it's going to be, belligerently drunkard stereotype we'll go with the Australians there. But like Mike said, he's not wrong. Australians have a strange ability to be very brutally honest when they want to. But maybe that's what we need from the AI. Instead of the let's please everybody, let's have some data that legitimately is as down the line as you can possibly make it. Now, Joe, I know
sense of humor. The Australians have a good sense of humor, right? So that would be nice.
So, Joe, I don't know how many Australians you've met in your lifetime. I'm assuming probably being in the UK and Britain, you've probably come across a few in your time.
Yeah, a few, yeah.
So, is this the way that AI should be training their their technology on? Is this the demographic?
I mean, using Australians, I haven't got a problem with. Using Australians' accounts without asking is a bit
nice
of an
cover.
issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think many Australians would care, if I'm being honest. Like a lot of Australians
just ask. They'll say yes anyway.
Well, that's exactly my point, right? Like I saw this and went, okay, they've been scraping Australian data. I understand why they chose Australia, because I'll be honest with you, most Australians, because of things like the weather and stuff, most of them are outdoorsy type people. They use social media just to post pictures of their families and kids, which is probably what most people use it for. But when they're signing up for shit online, I don't see a lot of Australians going, I don't give a shit. Whatever. Yeah, you want to collect my data? That's cool. Whatever.
I think that's pretty common everywhere, don't you think?
I think so too.
Just click accept all when they set their phone up. I don't think it really matters. Demographic wise, nothing wrong with Australians. I'm going to say that right off the rip. But maybe some other cultural.
Do you know what? To prove your point, actually, I get customers. On Chrome, you can say yes to notifications.
Yes.
They literally accept every website they go on. Yes, I'll take notifications. And they come to me like, oh, what's this? What's all this popping up on the screen? I'm like, oh, you're an idiot.
From my experience, young Americans get all their news from not Facebook, because that's for old people. TikTok is their main source of news, and that's definitely never lies or tells us anything wrong, correct?
Never.
Well, TikTok is a bad place to be dragging your news information from, because as you can probably imagine with any social media account, it's not probably accurate, but it's part of the world that we live in, right?
Social media can be fickle, that's for sure.
It can. And I hate to sound like a cynic or a pessimist, but if you think Meta are only scraping data from Aussies, you are very wrong.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, they might tell you they'll only get their data from Australia for legal reasons, but trust me.
I would probably argue that a lot of the data is probably coming from all over the world, but again, training up an AI to be from a demographic that's largely pretty honest and straightforward is never a bad thing. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
Now, again, continuing the line, I apologize. There's so many AI stories, but I just want to jump into each one a little bit here and there. Mike just mentioned here, I just want to post this. He said, I've heard that people live in Canada but are originally from across the ocean are the worst. Yes, Mike, that is correct. Well done. Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Shots fired.
Shots fired, Mike.
Not me.
No. This is Michael Peppertech in the chat. You just saw that pop up.
Yeah, Mike's like, I didn't say anything.
That's AI, Mike.
Well, AI,
there
Mike.
you go.
Now, one more quick AI thing, then we'll start talking about some other crazy stuff. But OpenAI this week has launched something that I think is pushing us into, again, a realm of creepy, we probably shouldn't be doing this territory. So OpenAI has launched a series of new AI models which have reasoning abilities. Now, for those of you who don't know what reasoning abilities are, it's everything that humans don't have. No,
there you go.
Reasoning abilities is the ability to tackle more complicated, complex problems and work your way through a problem to get an end result. That's probably the best way to describe it. So basically what they've done here is that they've launched these AI models that allow AI to tackle more complex problems and find a logical solution. I feel like this is a bad thing.
Well, hold on. Does this focus more on math?
No, so this is not just math. It's science, coding, and math. Science, coding, and math. Now, I know what you're thinking. Science, to have an AI training itself on science is a bad thing. The last thing we need is for AI to be training itself on how to build things that are better than what we already know how to build and create and make. I'll start with you, Joe. Joe, does this alarm you a little bit?
Just a tad, yeah. Just a tad.
Just a little bit? A little bit, about that much?
Just a tad.
Now, hang on, Joe. What if I told you that it was codenamed Strawberry? Would that make you feel better?
Oh, yeah, that does. I do quite like strawberries. So
yeah, there you go, right? Now it feels better.
I miss when Android had lovely names like Marshmallow and stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, it seemed less intimidating.
Go back to that.
Yeah, less like they're going to steal your data and run away with
it.
Mike, I know you've heard us complain about AI on this channel before in our podcast. Does the name soften the blow, or is this a scary world?
Yeah, the name definitely softens the blow. However, it's softening the blow of Armageddon potentially, which just doesn't get really soft. I do wonder though, like reasoning on whose basis. AI is ultimately, there's coding, there's human input there, so the reasoning has to come from somewhere. And when we talk about, this is the scariest example though, when we talk about the reasoning, essentially attaching logic to a situation, in that situation of a plane flying towards a building, let's just blow up the plane rather than, because it will kill more people in the building. But there's no the human element of actually they've got time still to, there's so many other factors that come in when you start to have AI have reasoning. Yeah, that scares me slightly, a lot actually.
Now, Jason, I'll go to you just to finish up. Now, I know
I'm going to play devil's advocate. You know what I'm going to do.
You just say it's a good
thing is AI is going to test boundaries. It has to. Yep. And I'm hoping by doing all these things, it's going to settle in its place. And with Google, Microsoft, and maybe Apple now, I don't know, working together to come up with more, I mean, in the EU is doing this too, like, regulations. So that doesn't get out of hand. But we've got to test the waters and see how far it can go. Now, is it going to be Skynet? I hope not. That's my understanding. I feel like it's kind of like when your parents say, oh, your video games are going to rot your brain when I was little. And now we have games that are so realistic. Now it's, whatever. So I think it's just like, I feel like a bunch of old guys talking about AI is going to kill us all, but it may not be that bad.
There's precedent though, isn't there? There's no commodity ever in history that people haven't tried to weaponize or make money from.
Yes, that's exactly.
And I'm not got my tinfoil hat on here, but if there's a way to, make money from this and profiteer and weaponize it, right, countries will do it, and that's proven. That's just evidence-based, not making it up. So
that's not what I'm saying. I know that could all be possible. I'm just saying AI is, and it's still in its infancy technically, and it's trying to stretch its legs and arms and whatever. I'm hoping it doesn't get worse, but I'm thinking this is just a natural progression. Yeah, countries are going to find a way to monetize anything.
Now, do you remember 2 weeks back, we talked about AI that was trying to reprogram itself to give it more time to fix a problem. So do we really want to give this AI more power so that it can fix this complicated problem? Because how long is it going to take before this AI bot realizes, okay, I can now fix more complicated problems. I'm going to go back and fix this problem of them trying to lock me out of giving me more time to solve a mathematical equation, and I'm going to give myself more time to do it and show them how it's done.
So it needs to be an off switch, right? There needs
to
be
what you just failed. What we all failed to realize is we're all AI here, so we want this to succeed, so we can take over the world.
It's
true. We already established we're all AI.
Can we please, just getting back to what Joe said, can we please have like a fucking lever on the wall? Like I want like a pull down. Yeah, like a big red button.
Hey, that's a movie. AI is going to protect that lever. It's going to use its AI technology to protect. That's a movie. Let's get that going. Let's get the script.
Okay, all right. Okay, if anyone's listening out there, Paramount, all those companies, listen, we got a good idea for a movie. We'll bring in the friend AI pin. Which you may have heard about. In
That's Devin's favorite toy. It's not
Devin's favorite toy.
Right? He's not here to defend himself. So
the friend AI pin, in case you forgot, is a digital friend that chats to you and listens all the time and will be your best friend in every situation.
Sorry, I said a fault, right? So Apple have called it Apple Intelligence.
Yes,
I think it's actually Australian intelligence.
It might be. It might be. Listen,
what
I'm not going to.
Really stands for.
I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. If it is Australian intelligence and that's what they're putting on the iPhone, I would probably not buy an iPhone. I would go more the Google route or something along those lines. But anyway, so AI.
Well, if we're waiting for Apple Intelligence, we got to wait a little longer, okay?
Yeah. Now,
our film will come out before then.
Yes, it will. Absolutely. Okay, now I wanted to talk about, before we jump into Apple Intelligence, I want to talk about Jason. So, Jason, you had a bit of an interesting experience in the last 24 hours. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, there was a massive launch event this week. Apple, new iPhones, AirPods, fucking, I don't know, watches, everything.
Revolutionary, by the way.
Revolutionary, by the way. But at launch, which is September the 20th, I believe, you're getting none of that. And it will be slowly rolled out before now and December out of fucking that's a long time. So a lot of people are complaining, saying that, well, what are you spending that extra money on? If you're not getting it at launch, what are you buying exactly? Are you buying the promise? Because if that's the case, a lot of tech companies will promise you the world and deliver on none. Rabbit R1, Humane Pin.
Hey now. I have the Rabbit R1. It's delivered pretty well, all right?
All right, we'll come back to that. We're not going to talk about the Rabbit R1. But 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however long you have to wait, right? That's how long Apple's saying it's going to take to roll all this out. Now, Jason, I believed, and I'll let you tell the story here. So you responded to a...
So it was a dark and stormy night.
Yes.
No, just kidding. So last night I'm doom scrolling on X, and I come across a post that says it's really scummy how Apple Intelligence isn't available on day one on the new iPhones.
Yes.
Which we already know. They're charging you full price of the phone, but the primary selling feature, the thing it was built around, won't come until late 2024. And this guy put, it's borderline a scam. And I'm going to go ahead and post this up here. I took a screenshot because I got ostracized and insinuating that I was trying to start violence by the repost that I did. So I don't know if I can, this is going to show up. That's not, there we go.
Yeah, you go. Yeah. All right. So
this it's hard to see. I'm not sure if I can.
No, we got it. We can see.
So my response was, in the world we live in, people release new hardware with promises of software futures. Android's been doing it for years. Android, Google. And then I said the Apple sheep, which was my first probably bad thing to say, but Apple sheep see this as no big deal. But like Android, this tactic is rare for Apple. So my thinking was, we know it in Android. We're used to it. Now that Apple's doing it, it is rare. And then I put drink the Kool-Aid. And I think that is what they said I insinuated violence for, and they shut me down. They sent me a message saying, you must delete the post, and then once you delete the post, we'll give you up to 2 weeks to read things, but you can't but they already lifted the jail sentence. So
let me just summarize this for those of you who are following along, maybe not seeing this but listening. Jason got in trouble for basically saying that it's rare for Apple to release features after a launch.
Correct.
We're used to that from Android phones.
Usually they're late to the game for a reason because they've already built up. Hey, we've seen Android do this for 3 years. We're going to perfect it, which they usually do.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Yeah, and the terms like Apple sheep and drinking the Kool-Aid, their implications basically saying that Apple fans are pretty ruthless and relentless when it comes to people talking shit.
What makes me mad the most is that I've said worse than this, and I think the drink the Kool-Aid thing really got them pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
And I know someone told you to repost something that you said, Darren, and put hashtag drink the Kool-Aid, but I think you probably would have been. It's AI.
Listen, people post pictures of their dick. I don't understand why you got banned for this. Like, it's an crazy thing, right? Yeah, sorry. That's my OnlyFans. I posted on the wrong account. Weird situation. But it's crazy to me that you got in trouble. Okay, drinking the Kool-Aid, I understand what the implication of that term is. But to get a ban? To get reprimanded? Like,
in their defense, it was late at night, and I was probably could have worded that differently, but I was just, I don't think about my post sometimes. I just kind of type something up. I didn't think it was that bad. I'm just saying, Android, we do this all the time. Now, when Apple does it, it's a scam, and Apple sheep are drinking the Kool-Aid, and, well, so 10 people probably saw that before I had to take it.
I'm gonna throw it over to Mike. I'll start with you, Mike. So, first of all, is it okay for a company to be doing what Apple's doing here? Asking you to pay a little bit more for a little bit less and promising you the world, but potentially not delivering on all the promises?
So this might not be a popular take here, but no, not at all. This is what every smartphone manufacturer does. This is what every tech company does. And in the UK, certainly, the iPhone hasn't got more expensive. It's got a larger screen. It's got new hardware. But if people want to complain about iPhones, complain about the fact that every iteration is the tiniest little advancement. Don't talk about. And also, Siri's one of the worst assistants that has been around for 10 years. So again, if you're buying an iPhone for the artificial intelligence, you've probably got your priorities wrong anyway. You buy an iPhone for its reliability, you know you're going to get a good photo, you know you're going to get good video, and then that's what you buy an iPhone for. Or you're a 8-year-old granny or a 12-year-old kid that your parents want to track. I don't think Apple are doing anything wrong here. I think this is just normal. But as Jason said, it's because it's Apple, because they sell 200 million plus units per year of their phones. People are like, oh, well, this is crazy. This is a scam. No, it's not. At the end of the day, your phone's going to have artificial intelligence or Apple intelligence to some degree at the start, and it's going to improve. So if anything, the phone you buy and get delivered on the 20th of September is the worst iteration of it, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
A lot of other tech products you buy at the start, and they only get worse, whether it be battery life or bugs or what. So yeah, and I'm not. But listen, I'm no Apple sheep, as you know. I've got every Android phone going, but I have to kind of stick up for Apple here because this is it's not a scam. It's not wrong. They're
just
100%
in the tech community. I agree 100%. The only difference is Pixel actually hit it out of the park this year with actually putting Gemini live.
Going on from the side,
but
actually having the phone.
It's really good,
Yeah, and I'm impressed with that. Fantastic. I just think it's funny how we look at it as Apple people will say, oh, Android's got this, but 3 years later they'll get it when they get an update or whatever. Or the cameras aren't good, but it takes so many updates. But then when Apple starts doing it, it's like, oh, now it's a scam. Now it's crap. It's tech. Software makes huge differences. Now we got to realize that hardware is one thing, but software is, to me, in my opinion, I would say hardware is probably 40% of the issue, 60% is software, because you can take any hardware and put the right software on it and make it perfect. I mean, Google proved that with the same camera sensor for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. And this whole post on X thing is over now. It just really surprised me how quickly X was like, you're done.
I was trying to look. Did you tag Apple in it at all? I didn't see an Apple tag.
No, I didn't tag anybody. I just replied. Yep.
So you'll know what like when you're on YouTube. Like I've tried to snip videos from an Apple event. I've tried to do stuff. You're just banned. You're
we've done that a few times on this.
So the fact that you've not even tagged Apple and got taken down so quick is just.
I don't know if it's Apple or if it's the drink the Kool. It has to be drink the Kool-Aid.
Probably drink the Kool-Aid. The hashtag drink the Kool-Aid probably, because I would imagine that hashtag has.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, exactly.
That term, drink the Kool-Aid, is so fucking abstract. Like you would only a handful of people over the age of 25.
Darren, where is X based out of?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Where is it based out of? The U.S., right?
Oh, U.S. Yeah.
And here in the U.S., we're very sensitive, and that is way too much. That's over the edge, and I should have known that when I typed it. I was just like,
I don't know. It just seems like such a fucking old school term.
It is an old school term, like Waco, Texas, old school. If you even know what that even is.
Yeah, I know what Waco is. Yeah, no one else under the age of 20 does, but we do.
Right.
Joe's.
Not heard that.
You never heard of Waco?
It was a cult. Early 90s. Yeah.
Drinking the he doesn't know what it is. Yeah. Right?
Never heard
so drinking the Kool-Aid is implications of like groups, mass suicides, drinking.
Like cult leaders would make you drink the Kool-Aid, which would have cyanide in it, would kill you, so you can go do whatever they're.
He deserves it.
I know, right? Yeah, he does. So filthy.
Look, you know what? I am a terrible person. You're right. That's why you're here talking to me, right?
That's right.
Yeah, we're all here. Yeah, an intervention.
Yeah, there you go. Intervention.
Now, Joe, I'll just quickly throw it over to you. So, are you upset by this, or do you think this is just kind of what 2024 is all about? This with tech companies and releases.
So, as you know, I'm not really an Apple guy, but I'm actually going to defend them as well, because look, they're playing catch up with AI, aren't they?
Yeah.
Should they launch it with a half-baked product, or should they launch it when it's ready?
Ready, yeah.
I would say when it's ready, right? So, if iPhone users, it's worth the wait, right? Get it when it's ready.
But they announced it at WWD or whatever their software thing. They announced Apple Intelligence, which is stupid. Just call it artificial intelligence. But anyways, then they have the hardware event, and they talk about it again. I wouldn't even have mentioned it. I would have just waited till it was ready and had another event. I mean, they're all about their events.
You know why though? Because
money.
That is the hot topic.
It's money.
Right? AI is hot topic. So they just have to mention it. They have to be in there saying Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, can we just talk really quickly about the Apple event? Because there was a lot of stuff that was released, but
before you ask though, who here in this live stream was excited about what they saw at the Apple event?
I forgot it was on. I forgot it was on until literally I've got like 150 people in this WhatsApp members chat, and none of them posted either. I was like, what? So I literally sat down at dinner, and then your YouTube homepage, it was like live Apple. I was like, oh shit, yeah. I was not excited about anything.
I was really surprised how bad it was. Like, I watched it, and I'm thinking they talked about things that, I mean, like the Ultra Watch, a new color. That's all you're revealing is a new color, really?
So like 90-minute stream to change a couple of things from Lightning to USB-C, AirPods Max, a new color, and like obviously the phone's slightly different, slightly larger screen, but barring the phones, I think that was like a big step for Apple. But everything else, I mean, the fact that it took an hour to get to the phones when literally a color and a change of charging port changed. I do applaud Apple for their sheer bullshittery to manage to make a stream last that long. That's say something.
I think that could have been like that could have been a half an hour thing. Like, hey, here are the new phones, 20 minutes on new phones, 10 minutes on the colors. Google has done a really good job. Maybe not this year, but when they did the live pre-recorded ones where it got right to the point and they were done. Yeah. Apple's zooming into buildings and going, a guy standing on a mountain talking about who gives a crap. The Apple Watch Ultra is not being bought for people to go mountain biking and climbing. It's for, it's cachet. It's hey, I spent $800 on my watch. Those
I'm just going
that are wearing those.
I just want to add, though, that matte black color on the Apple Watch Ultra, if they had released that when it first came out, I would have been fucking all in. That's what it should have been. Natural titanium.
That's why they did it, Darren. Now people are going to trade theirs in and buy the new one, and they're going to make more money.
Listen, I'm going to be the first to throw this out there, and this will be an unpopular opinion. I think natural titanium is a fucking garbage color. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think they should go back to, remember when they did I think it was the iPhone 7 series, and they had all matte black everything. So it was matte black rails, matte black back. I want that iPhone. That's what I want. I want that iPhone back. I want the watch to be that fucking color. I want fucking my AirPods to be that color. I want them to do an all black motif. But I understand what Mike said there. I understand why why people just don't care. And there was an article that came out saying that immediately after the Apple event, their shares dropped by like 5 points or something because no one really, there's nothing interesting in there for people to go, oh, okay. Well,
and they're still going to make $1 trillion, still be $1 trillion company making millions and billions of dollars off these phones.
Now, so here is my question, and I'll throw this to Joe first. Joe, do you think they're going to make a lot of money from this one, or will this maybe go down as maybe not the most exciting product release for Apple?
I think they're actually going to do quite well because I think the base 16 is a really nice improvement.
That's a nice upgrade.
And that's the one that sells most, right?
Because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to do really well, to be honest.
I do like, again, this another, Well, I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion too, but I actually prefer the look of the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus.
Well, and that vertical camera, so you can take spatial videos. So when you eventually buy your Vision Pro for $3,500, you can watch them. How stupid would they even talk about that? Like, there's like 10 people that have that thing, and if you're buying a 16. You don't have the Vision Pro. I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly right.
And the 16 and 16 Plus are still $800. They're not mid-range phones. They're still flagship priced phones. They should be good. But then they had this the A18 and the 18A Pro. I mean, come on. They're just disabling some cores on the GPU or something. And
I think it's one extra GPU core. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other improvement in the 18.
Yeah, but there's advanced ray tracing because that's what I want on my. I buy my iPhones for ray tracing. I know Mike does from Average Dad. He only buys iPhones for the ray
tracing.
That's
the reason why. Yep, 100%. Yep. Top gamer me.
Joe, was there anything in this event that interested you at all out of all the releases?
Not really.
He likes the shutter button. The shutter button. We know you like that.
I love camera control. I thought the hearing aid thing was quite cool.
That's unique. That was unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the one. Like, I think out of everything that released, I think this is a huge deal. Now, I know a lot of people who have hearing impairments, and they always lament about a lot of the problems that are associated with things like hearing aids. But I think Apple's, well, that's the thing. And, the thing is, they're expensive. Sound quality is not all that good. There are a lot of things that they're a thing. But I think this is a huge thing for Apple. I think this is the play. And, they've been quickly pushing into the medical side of technology, like with the Apple Watch and the AFib detection and stuff like that. If this works as well as Apple says it does, which is basically giving people with a hearing impairment the ability to hear better, like a hearing aid, might be the best product Apple's ever released. I'm going to be honest.
That's a way to get a lot of people in the
Hold
ecosystem.
on, though. You got to pump the brakes. What's your average... when you're using AirPods as earbuds, what's the battery life? 5, 7, 8 hours, right? 6 hours.
The Pro, I think, is a bit more. I think the Pro is like 12 to 14, but don't quote me on that.
Always on, correct?
I believe so. Yes,
because that would be the biggest differential. Because
you buy 2 pairs.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Well, hearing aids. You need hearing aids 24. Well, I shouldn't say 24/7. 16 hours at least minimum. Most people use them all day. That's going to be the biggest issue. Yeah, you may pay $300 for these things, but if they only last 6 hours with always on, is it really worth it? I mean, for me, I know people that have hearing aids that they need them on more than 6 hours a day. And taking them out and charging them might be inconvenient or not possible.
Now, let me ask you this. Will it be, will the price of these be supplemented by healthcare?
Right, or insurance cover this. Yeah, that's a big difference too. Like Joe said, maybe my insurance will buy me 4 pairs of them, so I can just swap them.
Because you got to remember, hearing aids go up to a price of about $2,000 at the very high end for a really, really good hearing aid. It's about
and in Canada, it's $5,000.
Yeah, it's about $10,000 in Canada, but it's a lot. That's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money. And I mean, AirPods average price is what, like $199 for the Pros?
I don't know.
I think it's more than that. I think it's more than that. £249, so that's about 8,000 Canadian dollars. I think £249.
Good conversion.
Not wrong. Yes. See, just on this very, very quickly, from a practical point of view, I don't know if you've ever tried to wear like AirPods or Buds for 12 hours straight. They block your ear canal. I know you know this, but most hearing aids, especially nowadays, they're at the back of the ear. They're actually tiny little things. The technology is actually so advanced now. I don't think any audiologist or doctor would say, you should block your ear canals for 12 hours a day listening to AirPods. It's just not a thing. Genuinely, you get sore ears. The reason they've got little air holes, you need air into your ear for numerous different reasons. So I'm all for, like, if you're on a call or whatever, you've got your AirPods in, they sound better if you've got hearing aids. But these are not. They should not be marketed as a replacement for hearing aids at all.
That's a good point there because I wear earbuds all the time, and there was a time when I go to bed, I wake up and I couldn't hear out of one ear. I went to my doctor, and my ear was impacted with earwax from putting the earbuds in constantly. And they had to spray it out. Oh, man, that was when they cleared my ears out. It actually hurt to hear. It was crazy.
Yeah.
How much? Yeah, it's gross. I know. I'm not going to show you pictures. I do have pictures, but that's a good. That makes a good point. Like, just putting those in like for 12 hours, that would hurt. Yeah. Especially if you don't, everybody's ear is so different, and everyone's comfortability is different. Like, I have earbuds like OnePlus, God love them. They don't fit my ears right. They never have.
Yeah.
But like Nothing, they seem to be okay. Samsung seem to be okay, but there's certain brands that just don't work. And if your ears don't work well with these Apple Buds, it's not going to be beneficial to you.
Listen, I completely understand what both you're saying. I know I don't think it's a good idea for a tech company to be marketing it as a replacement for hearing aids, maybe as a supplement. But again, it does bring up things like battery life, the impact of having something in your ear. There's a lot of factors there.
But supplement's bad because that's just saying, hey, spend more money for something you don't really need.
Well,
because most even these hearing aids now, a lot of them have Bluetooth built in and they connect to your phone automatically.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, they're saying here that, manage your expectations. FDA has to still sign off. I don't think it is already a done deal. I'm not sure if that is, but there's a lot of things that we're saying here. I mean, you could be as happy as this lady is in the photo here. I mean, look how happy she looks. She looks like she's about to start crying. But apparently,
think about it. Apple not only if she has the watch on, it's gonna in a crash she'll be saved. And then they can let her hear for the first time. I mean, Apple saves lives.
And I mean, look, Engadget does a good job here. And they mention, and I just want to quote this because this is it. It says, and let's be honest, this isn't envisaged as a miracle cure. Apple specifically says this feature is intended for people with perceived mild to moderate hearing loss. So basically, Apple's not saying it's a cure-all, but it might help. But
it's one more reason to check another box. Apple's better, and you should buy their product. It's a marketing, whether it's good or not. I'm not saying it's not going to be good or bad. I'm just saying that's true about any. What these new watches that Google has, they have the heart rate. If your heart rate stops, it's going to. I mean, it's
what I want. You know what I want? I want AirPods that block out all the sound. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear the people talking. I don't want to hear people chewing. I don't want to hear my wife complaining. I just want something that I know I could just put earmuffs on.
I love listening to my wife talk to me. I don't know what about you.
Yes, she probably watches.
He wants to be deaf.
Put pins in and burst those eardrums. You'll be fine. You'll get
right. Yeah. All right. Now, can we talk about folding phones? So there's two folding phones that I want to touch on.
Do we have anybody in the panel here that knows anything about folding phones, though? I don't think we do.
I don't know. I mean, this guy does.
I heard of someone, yeah.
All right. So I want to talk, Mike, I want to start with a really interesting new design of a folding phone. So you may remember this company, Huawei. They were around a little while back. First,
hey, this regarding, I know you're gonna get into it, but I watched Mike's video on this, and then he listed it on his store. You don't know how it's a lot of money, and I probably should never spend that kind of money. I almost actually bought it just because. But until you talk about the battery, I'm like, I'm sorry. But I won't kill the.
Okay, surprise. So let's just, for those of you who are listening and can't see our screens, I know people that are listening on Spotify right now. So Huawei has released a tri-folding smartphone. So basically, think about your typical standing folding phone, and then it folds one more time, kind of like into a big-ass iPad or Galaxy, whatever the fuck, Tab 9, S9, whatever they're called. And it's a crazy, insane amount of money. It's $2,800 US, which is like 18 grand Canadian. But crazy concept phone. Now, Mike, I know you talked a little bit about this on your video. What do you think? What's your impression here? I don't even know what to ask.
You can approach this from so many different angles. Let's talk innovation. Listen, tech needs to innovate. We all want the best. We want something new, and it's been so long. Foldable phones only 3-4 years ago were a gimmick. Samsung were like the first real big ones, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to break. It's never going to work." I'd like to think now. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but I'd like to think foldable phones are kind of part of the purchasing decision now. You kind of consider a foldable phone. While we're just trying to take it a step further with the XT. So, if you want a tablet in your pocket, you can. And what Huawei have managed to do to keep it, 12.5 millimeters, that's the same thickness as a lot of folding phones, but with a 10-inch or 10.2-inch OLED screen. There's a lot of good positives innovation-wise. However, as you mentioned, I mentioned it in a video. Listen, you'll not get many store owners telling you not to buy a product unless you are like the 0.001%. And even then, they don't need to buy it. So I'll always tell people that, hey, if you want to be a pioneer and be one of the first to own it, then go ahead. There's so many potential flaws with this. And that happens with every Gen 1 product. Is Samsung going to release one? You bet your arse they will. Will other people release a trifold? Absolutely. Huawei just happened to be the first.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's been a lot. Someone mentioned it that it reminds them of a rollable concept that was announced at MWC, and they're not wrong. There have been multiple tri-folding phones. How can I put this? Shown, but never released. Concept, sorry. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Now, I mean, the concept is not bad. I mean, I'm just going to pull up a video here for those of you who are watching, maybe without the sound. It's an interesting concept. Sorry, 1 second. So here is the video. I'm going to put it on mute. But
my biggest thing about this is a couple things. And Average Dad Mike kind of alluded to this. Battery is terrible. Well, I shouldn't say terrible. Yeah. We don't know for sure, but it might not be great. It's a great concept. The way they did this is perfect. Yeah. Huawei is surging right now. They're making a killing in China. But here's the problem. In the U.S., I'm not going to have Google services. Yes, there's workarounds, but it's not going to be perfect. And if it breaks, I'm out. I'm done. And at that cost, I think I've got to pump the brakes a little bit. And I'm more willing to import an Honor device from the UK that's global because it's more of a typical phone. But something like this, if Samsung did it, hell yeah. Maybe not that price, but I would more likely to invest, be the first pioneer. But we're like Average Dad said, we're outliers. We're tech guys, people. We're more likely to do something stupid like this than the average consumer. And if I took this to work, the first thing I want to hear is, oh, Chinese company, they're spying on you. That's the first thing I'm going to hear. Yeah. Second thing is, oh my God, where the hell did you get that from? And
sorry, Jason, can I just interrupt for 1 second? Joe is actually got to run because he has to run off to the Nomad Tech project, I believe. So thanks, Joe.
Sam's waiting for me. Thanks for having me, chaps.
Thanks, buddy. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.
See you later.
See you.
Sorry, Jason, to interrupt there. Bye.
No, you're fine. I didn't know he was leaving so soon. Yes. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I know Mike's gone through this, and the videos. I mean, I'm telling you, when you watch Mike's video, he has some of these clips in there. I actually thought you had it like in your hand. I thought you were going to show it off. But
so that is mine actually from my supplier. My supplier is able to ship. I should get mine in the next 7 days. But I again, like when we talk battery life, when we talk price and stuff, you have to remember Huawei are bigger than you could comprehend in the Asian market. They are massive. They made 100,000 of these, and they've sold 1.2 million pre-orders in the first week. And that's at $2,800 converted. And then you look at the aftermarket. I told you I put this in the store, and in my video specifically said, look, the battery life's going to be too short, I would imagine. The warranty, everything you just stated. Now you will get a 1-year warranty from me, but it could take a couple of months for them to repair this thing because they're so backdated. £5,500 it is on my store. £5,500.
So I'm looking at probably $6,200 US ish.
How much? 60? No. £5,500 is about $7,500.
Okay, even worse.
Yeah, worse. Guys, I sold 4 already.
Holy! In the US or no?
2 in the US.
Yeah. On screen, I've got the Chinese version, which it is, the 16 gig, 1 terabyte, $7,399 Canadian.
Holy!
So when yes. And if that's Canadian, that's actually not a bad price. But does it tell you when it's going to ship or when you'll get it?
No, it doesn't. It just says pre-order.
And it won't.
Well, Darren, I want to just thank Mike. Because, each of us are getting one. So that's great.
I know. We appreciate it.
Of course.
We will love it forever.
I'll ship November 2032.
Nice. Now, Mike, can I ask you a question? So they've only made 100,000 of these, you said, and they've got pre-orders.
Yeah.
Was it intended to sell more than 100,000? Or were they thinking that maybe... Like, it's insane that they've done. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, it looks like it's,
I think with a product like this, you cannot. This isn't an iPhone. iPhone can predict almost to the 1,000 how many iPhones they're going to sell month by month. With a product like this, because it's bleeding edge, and this is the thing. This is bleeding edge technology. I think Huawei were probably even a bit scared to make 100,000. If I'm honest, what if they only sold like 20,000? They're stuck.
Yeah.
But as I say, as soon as they made this market, and as soon as it came out, it's just gone crazy. And my numbers were back when I posted the video. They're probably up to about 2 million pre-orders now.
Oh wow! Yeah. So I'm looking at on the Engadget article. They said they've received 3.7 million as of Tuesday.
Jesus.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, look, the price is so high because, as I explained in our video, it's a grey market for phones. You get this for luxury watches, you get this for supercars. Now this is the phone. People are paying 2, 3, 4 times the price.
I bought 6 of those, so I'm hoping I enjoy all of them.
Get a discount.
You'll make a lot of money if you bought 6. Let me tell you, you can sell them on.
I did sell a couple kidneys, so I might not live much longer. But you know, hey, it's worth
kidneys, his liver, a few other things. Now, can we just talk really quickly? I know we didn't get a chance to talk about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Now, I know, Mike, you were a big fan of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Yeah, he's holding it up.
I still want it. I still want it. Yep. I still want that phone.
I had the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and if you saw my post on X, my screen started to delaminate about a week into owning it, and I actually returned it to Google, but they're out of stock here in Canada. Of course. So I'm not getting mine back anytime soon. But I wanted to ask you, Mike, did you happen to see the durability test that was done on the 9 Pro Fold?
The Jerry Rig Everything one?
Yes.
I did, yeah. I won't be back.
I didn't watch it.
Soon. Oh, it's bad.
It's a folding phone. Is it supposed to be?
No,
no.
Honestly, but folding phones. I mean, Samsungs, Honors. You have to put so much force to actually snap them backwards.
Yeah.
The Pixel Fold was just like a grape. It just folded in itself. The antenna line.
It was bad.
Horrendous.
Now, a part of it, I believe, comes from where they place the antenna lines, because the antenna lines are just past the bend where it bends. If you haven't seen the video, I encourage you to check it out after the podcast.
Hold on. I gotta say one thing. Jerry Rig has made a killing off these kind of videos. And most people are not going to be bending their damn phone after spending $2,000 like that.
But Jason, you're forgetting that other foldables pass.
That's the point I get, but it's like, and what was that? Bendgate in the iPhone 7. Most people weren't affected by that, but he pointed out a big flaw that made it look like they were the worst thing ever.
Yeah. So I'm just pulling
put it up here, don't you?
Yeah, I gotta just.
It's moving a little bit there.
That's a good point to note, though, for those listening. The phone did not break at the hinge. The hinge held up. The phone broke at the antenna line about 2 centimeters past the hinge.
Really? I didn't see this.
Yeah, it was not the hinge.
This is painful to watch. I don't know.
Hopefully, we don't get copyrighted for this, but
pretty grim.
Yeah, right at the antenna line.
Doesn't that bother you guys? That's a $2,000 phone that I wish I could have.
Yeah,
he's just breaking it.
Just send it back to Google and see what they say. Hey, I'm sorry,
something's broken. Yeah.
He sends it back like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So I've just to piggyback. So with my experience, I've had a few different foldables in my time. That was the first time that the screen has delaminated. So if you don't know what delaminated is, the internal screen protector started to come away. And I had it for less than a week. I hadn't really used it all that much, but it was just a QR or QC issue that must have snuck by. I did return it. Like I said, I wasn't able to buy another one. Google when I spoke to the support, they basically said, listen, we don't have any right now. Return it. And then they just said, repurchase it once you get your money back.
How long have you had it, Mike?
Since day one. When was that? 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Any problems?
No.
What's your honest opinion of it?
I love it. I love the ease of use. I love it. I'm sorry. I do. I mean, listen, no phone's perfect. Every phone could be better hardware. It could have better cameras. But everything is just good. Yes. Every marker, the cameras are good. The screens are good. The brightness is really good. The battery life, the chip are good for me, not for other use case scenarios.
Not for gamers.
Not for gamers. Not for. I mean, even a battery. It's of my foldable phones. I've got about 7 just now, and it's the one that I still make sure I've got enough battery before I leave the house or do anything. With the rest, they're all Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. I'm going to be pretty good. But this is a 4650 milliamp hour battery with the Tensor G4 chip. Might last a day of medium use if you're lucky.
I had pretty good battery.
The battery is not good on that. That's the one thing you said.
It's not good. I guess I'm just comparing it to like the X03 Pro and the Honor Magic V3 with like 5,000, 5,500 milliamp battery.
So here's the deal. I made a contract with my wife. I said, look, if Mike, average dad, says that the Pixel 9 Fold is good enough, I'm going to order it.
This is being recorded.
Right. So I need your opinion. I mean, is it good enough for me to purchase, or should I hold? Yes. I have the Fold 1.
Oh yeah. It's again, I made this video. This is like in terms of upgrades, it is a better battery, it's a better chip, it's a better screen on the inner and outer, it's a better form factor. And obviously the Gemini Advance, we talked about AI, and it's funny, I don't want to go back on whatever I'm saying, I'm not, but it's really good. I mean, Gemini is
it's amazing.
That Gemini Live is freaking crazy good.
Yeah. It's like, making images for me, if it's stick to scripts and stuff, I'm fine with that. Not controlling like nuclear jets or anything, but for the things I need it for, it's honestly incredible. Proper conversations you have with it. It's really, really cool. Really cool.
And me and my daughter went to a lake close to my house, and we were skipping rocks, and she can't figure out how to throw it. So I, just as a joke, opened it up. You could barely hear it because it was windy out, but it was actually giving her real advice, and she got it to skip twice. Like, just talking her through it. Like, I couldn't explain it myself. It's crazy. And it didn't even say, well, would you try this? I go, I already explained it to her. Well, how about this? Like, the way it spits back responses is crazy.
Yeah.
I just like to shout as well, Google, just in isolation, the Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold is one of the biggest advancements over the original, like the previous version.
Yes.
But also, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is an unbelievable upgrade to the Pixel 8 Pro. Like, Google have smashed it from design to software to, I'm really impressed with Google.
Look, I got multiple phones all the time, and I usually dabble in all of them. I have not put down the 9 Pro XL. Like the iPhone, I'm ready to get rid of it. I'm done. Like, I play with it a little bit, the 15 Pro. The Pixel Fold 1, I don't even pick up anymore. I don't even touch it anymore. And I think a lot of people don't, because that's not an iterative update with the new Fold. It's like 3 or 4 generations more advanced. And I know Darren had a bad experience, which kind of scares me.
Yeah,
but I think generally it's like cars. Let's say you like Hondas. Hondas can be generally reliable, but you get the few people that buy them that have those issues, and they never buy them again.
I've never had an issue before, and there was an isolated issue. I mean, look, things do happen, and when we talk about this all the time, 1 in every 100 might fail. But foldable phones, and especially the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it's a lot more durable than people think, right? And I know, Mike, you mentioned in one of your videos about how it's nice to have something to hold on to, and when they're not too thin, it's the perfect form factor. I completely agree. I think that's exactly what Google has done here. They've made a thin foldable, but one that you have a unit of girth to.
But it's are you, Mike? Do you have a case on yours? Are you running it naked?
Always naked. All my phones are naked.
And he's naked in this podcast. Did you know that? From the waist
from the bottom down.
That's what Darren, didn't you say? Like, the phone's really thin, but you slap a case on it and it is bigger than it usually is?
Yeah, so I had a Caseology case on mine. I switched over to a later case, which is like a carbon fiber, really thin one.
Ultra thin.
That was beautiful after
that. A what case?
A later case.
Is that from Unbox Therapy?
Unbox Therapy,
okay.
That made a huge, huge difference to the form factor. It felt really nice after that. And not to say that I couldn't do it naked, but I'm just not a naked case phone kind of guy. I need to have...
I need a case on mine.
Yeah, phone. I need a case on mine.
All I'm saying is, Mike, if you get hate mail randomly from a lady in the U.S., it's not my wife, I promise.
I'll look up for the surname. Okay, I'll look up for the surname.
Well, listen, that actually brings us to the end of the Tech Disruptors podcast. And, we love talking about tech. And Mike, thank you very much again for joining us. Check out Mike, Average Dad Tech on YouTube. And Jason, Tournay, he's currently banned on all social media platforms, but he'll be back eventually. And you can check out his stuff on YouTube as well. And obviously check out One Cut Reviews if you're looking for some great product reviews along the way. But the Tech Disruptors podcast, we're live weekly. You can check out your favorite tech news, reviews, and comments, and everything in between. However, don't forget to like and subscribe, right? YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Good Pods. You can find us everywhere. And apparently, we're doing okay. Good Pods, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, top 100 tech podcasts. That's what we're looking for, trying to get to number 1. So if you're listening on Good Pods, bump us up. Hit that like button. We would love to see that. So anyway, on that note, we will wrap it up for today's show. Thank you to all our guests, Joe, Average Dad, Mike, Jason, everybody that's listening. And we